we went out to the aircraft, and the ritual was we always pissed on the rear wheel for good luck. Anyway, we got in the aircraft, and we was at Waddington, and they had no runways there. All they had was grass. And even on my first trip, with this bomb load on, we just managed to lift off over the hedges to take off. And then we flew around the aerodrome till we got up to about 6,000 or 7,000 feet, and then we headed east. We crossed the North Sea, and then the bomb aimer who lays in the front, lays flat down in the front, said, enemy coast ahead, flak. So we was up about 16,000 feet then. Mind you, this pilot was a very seasoned pilot. He was on his second tour, saying all the tricks. And he knew that to get over Holland, you had to be above 12,000 feet because of the light flak. There was hundreds of these light flak guns on the freezing islands, what we had to pass over. Anyway, it was well above it, and I looked down, I see these beautiful colours, blues, greens, reds, tracer coming up and dropping down. I thought to myself, if that's flak, we've got nothing at all to worry about. We was well above it. We flew across Holland. We was up to about 20,000 feet then. We flew across Holland. We never see a lot. Only a few star shells and a few lights on the ground for the night fighters used to circle around waiting to come after us. Anyway, we crossed over Holland into Germany, and then the bomb aimer said, target ahead, skipper. And I thought, so well, I'll have a look to see what his target's like. And being the mid-upper, you could swing the turret 120 degree all the way around. So I swung it around facing the forward position, and I had a shock of my life. In front of us was one huge, massive explosion of shells. And I thought to myself, God blimey, sure we haven't got to go through that. There was hundreds of shells exploding. You see aircraft blowing up in the sky, some on fire. And the skipper said to me, being on my first trip, he said, mid-upper, make sure you look above you and there's no aircraft flying above you ready to drop its bombs, which did happen. And a lot of our aircraft were badly damaged through aircraft dropping their incendiaries and bombs from a different height. Anyway, I said to the skipper, well, as I looked up, there was a Lancaster above us with his bomb bay open. The bomb bay was enormous. It's about from there to about here. That's the length of the bomb. It was enormous. And I said to the skipper, there's a Lanc above us with a bomb bay open. Dive port. We dive port, straightened out, and started flying again towards the huge barrage. And the bomb aimer said, we're on the wrong course. He said, we got to go round again and make another approach to the target, because the most important thing on a bombing raid was to bring back a photograph. If you didn't bring a photograph back, they never counted it as a raid. The camera was enormous. It was like that huge thing it was. Anyway, we went right through that lot with our bomb bay shut, turned round, made what they call a dog leg, and come back on the rear of the formations that were flying in. And by that time, Jerry had cottoned on to us. And don't forget, another terror of bombing was the searchlights. If one of those searchlights hit you, it completely blinded you. And they were so powerful. They had what they called a radar-operated searchlight, and that was blue. It wasn't white like the ordinary searchlight. It was blue, and it never missed. It went bang like that, and it hit you straight away. And once that hit you, about 10 or 15 searchlights would come and cone you. And then all the guns would open up, and the fighters would come straight in on top of you. So you had to be very, very wary of a searchlight. Anyway, we made that, made the dog leg round and we was at the back of the bomber formation then, and we could see, well, I could see from where I was, the town was getting a real hammering. At that time, that period, there was no pathfinders. And that's why we had to go round again, because we had to select our own target and bring a photograph back more or less on that area. And he did, when the Pathfinders was formed, he did make bombing not easier, but we could get in, and all we had to do then with Pathfinders was bomb the flare. We didn't have to look for a specified target. We just bombed the flare. Go in, bomb the flare, slam your door shut, dive and get out quick. And you had to get out quick, believe me. And we made our approach round, and we made the bombing run. And once, because this is my first trip, and I was amazed. Directly we dropped the bombs, we went up like a lift, because the huge weight of the bombs being dropped suddenly, the aircraft went up 400 or 500 feet. Anyway, we slammed the bomb bay doors shut. And then what we used to do was either go port or starboard, dive down, and get as much speed as we could to get away from the target. Anyway, as we're coming home, this is on my first trip. As we're coming home, the bomb aimer and the wireless operator said, "We can't breathe. We've got no oxygen." Apparently, the shrapnel had come through, which he always did, and cut the leads from the oxygen bottles to the line to where they was breathing. Anyway, so we had to go down to below 10,000 feet. Then we could take our oxygen mask off and breathe normal. And as we passed over the Dutch coast, which we see coming in, beautiful coloured lights, I had a shock of my life. These shells were whipping past us. I've never seen anything like it. How they never hit us, I don't know. There was hundreds of them all coming up. Anyway, we got over the Dutch coast, the Frisian Islands it was, and made our way home and landed. Had a look at the aircraft, which always had shrapnel holes in the aircraft, always. And we landed up and thought, that's it, it's one trip. I've got another 29 to do. And that means by 29 means that you had to bring back a picture. If you didn't bring back a picture, it didn't count as a trip. So you had to do that again. So instead of doing 30, you had to do 31, 32, or whatever, how many pictures you missed. And that was my first raid, and it shook the life out of me. I never realised what it was to go all that way, and the fantastic bombardment of German guns was incredible. And you had to be careful even then, coming home, because they're what they called radar operated guns on the way, and they were so accurate, they never missed. Even at 20,000 feet, they could hit you as easy as anything. So you just do a little gentle weave to keep to help you to keep out the radar. I landed. That was my first trip. We went down. We got the usual bacon and eggs, cup of coffee. Told them what we see, and went to Kip. And the next morning we woke up and we was on bombing raid again.